This is the Modern Mastery Unleashed podcast.
Hey, welcome everyone to another empowering episode of Modern Self-Mastery Unleashed, the podcast. I'm Natalia, your life and business strategist, and I have Paul Davidson, your peak performance coach. We are super excited to be here with you today to be talking about something that affects all of us, no matter where you are in your journey. And that is excuses. We're going to get into why we make excuses, how they hold us back, and most importantly, how we can rid ourselves of that kind of language. So, Paul, my question to kick us off is, why do you think we create excuses in the first place?
Well, as you quite rightly said, this is a hot topic that I don't think anybody's immune to a certain degree. And then I think when they do crop up through awareness being the first step, you can choose a different action and thought process. But all begins with awareness, because I've been there where I've made all the excuses in the world. And people think that I've arrived as I am with not having gone through any type of process whatsoever. And that's just not the case, you know. So this is a continuous journey. However, I thought my mindset was in a good place. And I think people that are achievers, who know how to get stuff done, will generally think that our mindset's in a good place until you're tested, until you level up, and until you throw yourself into something which just freaks the subconscious right out. So the conscious part of our mind will say, oh, absolutely, yeah, I want to level up, I've got a growth mindset, until the challenge comes. And then we want to keep small. So the stories will come up that, well, I always mess things up. I'm always rubbish with technology. I can't ever get stuff done. You know, I never follow through. I'm a good starter, but I'm not a finisher. And I'm a perfectionist is a great one for never actually doing a thing. Because actually it's, I mean, that's been one of mine, you know, and I think that when you have high standards, I think sometimes it can be a hindrance, especially if you're starting something new or challenging yourself in the way you haven't before, because you want to go in at a level where you have a certain level of mastery, which is just crazy when you think about it, because you might be in a field where it's taking you 10, 15 years to get to the level that you're at, and you expect a level of mastery when you're stuck. So I think you have to expect to look bad for a while.
Yeah.
You know, just lower the bar. Otherwise, you'll just never start. But I think the excuses come up when we're tested. I think we step into comfort zones, don't we?
Yeah.
You just step into another one and your level raises, and then at every level there's another devil. So the subconscious is going to throw at you, oh, well, you're a bit tired. Well, you deserve a bit of cake. It's been a long day. We'll start that on Monday. You know, we're too busy for that. You know, it's the stories that we tell ourselves all the time. And we fight for the story, even though it isn't true. But it's just to keep us safe, ultimately. That's all this is always about, isn't it? It's just keep you safe, because the brain is wired for survival, not happiness. That's our job, right? So I think just being conscious and aware of what we say, what spins around in our minds and what spills out of our mouth is very important, because that's going to determine our actions and how we feel, because I think what comes out of your mouth comes into your life.
100%. I totally agree with you. So I think we also talked about it last week in terms of the fears as well. So it's the comfort zone. The comfort's keeping you safe. It's that fight or flight mode, that survival mode you just touched on. But it's also the fears, like the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of success. All, if you missed last week's episode, to have a listen, because we did get into that. And we all know that growth happens on the other side of that comfort zone, right? And I think anyone listening to this podcast has probably heard that before. And if you haven't, that is absolutely true. And I would say there's probably like 3 practical ways we can stop making these excuses. And you touched on one, which is the self-awareness, like being aware of the excuses. Notice when you have something in the diary and something comes up. What is that something? Does it, like, jot it down, make a note folder in your iPhone, or I don't know what Samsung uses, but in your phones, you have these tools, like, just start paying attention to how you're paying attention. What is it that you feel like you keep setting the same goal for? I keep wanting to lose this weight, or I keep wanting to start this business, it's fine to have the same goal, because your vision will change as you evolve. But if it's on repeat, maybe there's something else there, or maybe you need to get smarter at creating your goals, like creating those SMART goals. If you've never heard the SMART acronym: specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and timely. But yeah, and I think that's kind of going into the second thing, which is goal setting and accountability. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have a lot to say about accountability, as do I, because it's the one thing that keeps us in check, right?
Again, I don't think that anybody's immune. We have coaches, but it becomes a way of being and who you are. So I think, to start with, you have somebody that holds you accountable for what you say you're going to do, and you don't want to let that other person down, even though it's for you. And then you become super conscious of not letting yourself down. And what this all comes down to, all roads lead to south, as we know, is that once you start keeping the promises you make to yourself, that's the root of everything, because you're never going to outperform your level of self-worth. And that will come down to self-trust. So your self-worth is going to determine everything: the money you earn, your relationships, your health, what you think you're worthy of, which comes back to your blueprint of how you think it should be and what you're worthy of. But when you start keeping those promises you make to yourself, so you set a goal to make a certain amount of money, to start this certain business, to lose the weight, things are going to crop up. And I think that's a really good point that you brought up there, that if you're continually setting the same goal and a time-bound action in your diary, and you're just not doing it, it's just exploring what comes up. But your goals shape you, because your RAS is filtering according to what is important to you. So I think this comes back to something that's brutally honest. And this is a book I've read a few times now, and it smacked me in the face. And one of which is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. And I read that book and I thought, I'm an amateur. Straight up. So, because if you think about an amateur will do the thing when it's convenient and when you feel like it. And the pro just does it. So if you think about whatever you're doing, are you interested or committed? This is where the accountability comes. So I heard once upon a time when I was talking about some goals I had, coach said to me, "Are you interested or committed?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, if you're interested, you'll do it when it's convenient and when you feel like it. And when you're committed, you'll do what it takes."
Oh, wow. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. I hope everyone is jotting this down, because even just having that on your, like a sticky note on your wall, or your phone, or create something in Canva, make it something nice. But are you committed or are you interested? That is so powerful. Wow. Yeah. And there's something that you had mentioned there. Oh, RAS. Like, for those of you that haven't heard of what that is, that's your reticular activation system. That is a part of your brain. And just as Paul said, it literally will act like a filter. And it's why visualization is so powerful. It's like, I remember, it's like if you ever think about, if you're shopping for a certain car, all of a sudden you start to see that car everywhere. You're like, how many? I didn't realize there were so many Audis on the road, or whatever you're going for. And but that is your RAS, your reticular activating system, kicking in. And it's so important to just be aware of, because that is literally a function of your brain that's in motion there. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And perhaps I should have explained that, but it's a powerful mechanism. So that's if you're looking to get a French bulldog, all of a sudden they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, but it has to filter this out, because the amount of inputs that are coming in would just totally fry the senses. So it's got to filter out as to what you're telling it is important. And so the mind can be directed, but you've got to keep nudging it. You've got to keep nudging it to where you want to go. So it's not an automatic thing, but it becomes automatic. And I think that the accountability side of things is incredibly powerful, and it's very uncomfortable. We're not here to kid each other. This is about integrity of just, we talked about the be, do, have. This links, all of these are woven into the same fabric of self-mastery, and that is the be. So who do you want to be? Who are your role models? How do they act? What are their habits? What are their character traits? Is authenticity and integrity high on your values? Because integrity is doing what you say you're going to do, which is a rare trait these days. And I think that how you do anything is how you do everything. It's integrity. Yes. So it's a powerful virtue to live. Not to quote, not to say, but don't talk about your philosophy, embody it, do what you say you're going to do, and your life will change. It will explode into change just by a raising of standards. That I do what I say I'm going to do. And everybody wants accountability until they get it, because it's very uncomfortable. It will be very uncomfortable, but you will start making strides you didn't know you could make. And extremity expands capacity, as our good friend Mr. Ed Milet. He's going to be on the show one day. Of course he is. He's just messaged me now. Not yet, Ed. But it's one of those things. It's true. Extremity expands capacity. You will start doing things you didn't think you were capable of, and that moves the water level in the pool. You are developing a new identity, and we have a strong desire to be congruent with our identity. So when you become the person who does what they say they're going to do, and you set a goal, and you do the work, you forget the North Star, and you just focus on the process and never leave the process, the result will take care of itself. And I think the stress occurs when we're thinking of the goal, and we're looking at where we are, and we're getting stressed because we're resisting the now, resisting what is. But all we have to do is focus on the process. And it's been proven we get the dopamine hits from the process, from the small milestones instead of the thing. Because, we've all achieved things that we thought we wanted and that would make us happy when we get there. And it lasts for a very short period of time. So it is in the attainment, in the becoming. I mean, that's what I love. That makes my hair stand on end. It's in the becoming. That's where the juice is. And, the standard that you set for all the people around you to have integrity of doing what you say you're going to do and achieving the goals that you set for you. Because what holds us back quite often, we say, it's judgment, it's what other people think about me. And typically, if you drill that down, it will become a person. I'm worried about what Steve's going to think of me. You're about someone, you're giving all your power away to a person.
Yeah.
In 3 generations, we are all going to be gone. And no one will remember. So do it for you. And you've got to use that fuel. I'm going to get super passionate now, so I'll try and sit still. So we've got to use the carrot and the stick here to find that fuel to get you to move. It's okay to set a goal and have actions, but it's doing the thing. It's doing it is the issue. It's the execution is what we lack now. We are consuming and not acting. And this is the problem. And because I think most of us feel this deep pit of kind of anxiety or sadness because we know we can do, be, and have so much more. And we know we have this capability. We know there's so much more in us that we can get out and show. And because my deepest fear is getting to the end of my life thinking that I wasn't good enough. And that means to me that I didn't leave it all out on the field. And that's not measuring necessarily an outcome, but could I have given more? Could I have committed more? Could I have enjoyed that more? Could I have put everything that I am into the thing that I care about the most? And that's a meaningful life. You never lack the fuel. But if you sometimes we need the carrot and the stick, the pull of everything that we want, that beautiful vision and those emotions that we want to feel. And we can have the essence of that right now. But also the anti-vision is very powerful. That what's wrong in your world? What don't you want? Where, think about what you don't want your trajectory in 5 years' time. You might be wearing what you don't want to wear, living where you don't want to live, working where you don't want to work. Got a physique you don't want to have, in a relationship you don't want to be in. So it's, that is powerful because yes, we want the cheese, we want the smell of the cheese, and also be aware of the cat that's behind us as well, because the 3 most common traits in the most successful people that's ever been measured is number 1 is a complex where you feel as if you're deserving of more and you feel worthy of it. The second is a crippling insecurity that you're not good enough and you'll never achieve it. And number 3 is impulse control. So you've got to have what you don't want in the back of your mind. You've got to use what you've got, because if you're not being moved by what you want and you're not taking the action by the dream, then it might be worth paying attention to what you don't want. What are the consequences of you not doing the thing? Because I think in life we choose our regrets. We don't get to split test life, do we? So I think you get to choose your regrets. Do I go to the gym or the theme park? Yeah. The gym is probably the right choice, but what if I went to the theme park? So you get to choose your regrets, your commitment cost, so to speak. What's the commitment? What's the commitment cost to me doing the thing to attain the thing? Can I deal with that? Great. Perfect. then you never have to tussle all the time of, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? No, I've made that decision. It's like, am I going to eat this month? I'm not going to eat sugar. Okay. Well, what if I never eat sugars consciously ever again in my life? What does that mean? That means when I'm at a barbecue with friends, it's going to happen. And I'm going to say, I don't do that anymore. Typically, you are not going to fit in. The moment you start leveling up, you are not going to fit in. And that's why we house this space, so that you feel less alone in this process of personal growth, because it can be a lonely place.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a lot there. And I think what is a thread in all of that is we think we have so much time. And we don't actually. No. Every moment is an opportunity for you to maximize your potential. And you do have a choice between maximizing and waiting one more day or one more hour or one more year, whatever that time scale is for you. And I, we would suggest sort of saying, like, have a conversation with your future self and just say, like, okay, in a year's time, like, how would you describe that person? It's probably one of the first episodes we talked about is, just connecting with that future self and feeling into how proud he or she is that she got out of that unhealthy relationship, how proud he or she is of achieving that weight goal or hitting that income goal or like moving country, whatever that is for you. You have to take yourself there and let yourself go there and feel it and experience it, because that's the difference of feeling. That's the difference of, okay, it is, and so it is, and it's that difficulty of people having this, well, I haven't achieved it yet, so I don't want to let myself go there. But if you don't let yourself go there, you're never going to embrace what that could feel like. So you'll always be chasing it in a way, because you don't let yourself even go there and imagine that it is your present. It is your reality in a way. And so I think the third thing we wanted to talk about was also, the language piece, and how important it is to have a positive language and those mindset shifts in terms of, getting rid of self-doubt, accepting yourself for who you are, and ultimately that self-love, that self-worth, that self-discipline, which is all a form of self-love. And, how do you go from the negative self-talk and the limiting beliefs? And it is a daily process, like we were talking about. It is a conscious effort to pay attention to those niggly things that say, oh, are you sure you're ready for this? Or, oh, you might need another course, or you might need another piece of training, or, maybe it's not the right time. And, it's never going to feel like the right time. You're never going to feel ready. And so the difference, I think, between people who achieve what they want to achieve is that they just take that imperfect action. They take that inspired action. And it's no coincidence that they're both action oriented, which is what we talk about. It's like, it's not enough to think about it. It's not enough to dream about it or visualize it. You have to commit, and you have to know why you're doing it, and you just have to let yourself go there. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to sort of the language piece and the mindset shift that needs to happen in order for you to really eliminate excuses, get rid of excuses from your vocabulary.
Yeah, again, well, you've touched on again a lot there. And there's a few things just to touch on. And that is that understanding that we are all going to die. And we are going to die at some point, but most of us walk around thinking that that's just going to happen to somebody else. So in the hourglass of life, the sand that is gone is gone. We don't know how much is at the top, but we do know about the bit in the middle, which is the now. And like you said, every moment, every minute, every hour, every day is a new start. And to the wise man or woman, a new morning is a new life. So we can make a choice. And I think that the heaviest things in the world aren't iron or the earth itself. It's that we know that there are decisions we need to make and we're not making them.
Yeah.
We have a list of decisions that we're not making. And so I think when you finally decide, I think Naval said the question that people think is the question is, how do I get what I want? When the question really is, what do I want? When you understand what you really want, and you focus all your efforts and energy towards that thing, the decisions are easy. You make the decision through your values and what is important to you and what you want, then all of your decisions become easy. So it's a really powerful concept, and you have to look at what's going to give you activation energy. And that might be thinking about death, which I think of a lot, and that's not a bad thing. It just makes every moment and every day more beautiful, because I know it's not going to be here forever. But look at your activation energy. If you want to do the thing, I'm 45. I'll be happy if I have another 25 Christmases, 25 summers. I want to do that thing, 25 summers. Shall I connect with that person? 25 summers. Shall we take the family on that, as you might say, vacation? 25 summers. And that's not to go out and do reckless things, but understand that we can't put off I'll be happy when into the future. We've got to weave that into now. So the mindset shift is looking and understanding that we do have a mortality. And when we look into that, it might give you the activation energy you need. I'm all about activation energy and using what you have. Where you are right now is perfect. The job didn't work out, good. Relationship didn't work out, good. Yeah. Good. There's always a lesson to be learned for you to get better. And to understand, as we always say, that life is happening for us and not to us, and to not give your power away. So I used to suffer with anger a lot. And so when I realized that anger is giving your power away to something external, that changed. Something outside of me I'm giving power away to, that's what's making me angry. It's always an external thing when I get angry. And this is what happens in human behavior. We're giving our power away somewhere along the line. And I think I just decided to live in a beautiful state. I might have times where you're angry and stuff happens. There's always going to be happenings. The same wind blows on us all, but we just want to trim a better sail.
Yeah.
You can trim a better sail and think, okay, how can I use this? What can I do? What's in my power? That's gone wrong. What's my part in it? That's personal responsibility. And if you've got a chronic illness and the doctor said to you, well, would you like to take responsibility for that? You'd say, well, no, it's not my fault. But if the doctor said, well, no, your responsibility is your ability to respond, you say, no, I take full responsibility. It's your ability to respond. So that's why you want to take full responsibility. It's claiming your power. And that's what I have to say about that.
Well, here we go. So, I mean, excuses do not stand a chance when you are going to implement the things that we talked about, the strategies that we talked about here. And if you need to go back, you need to listen. I mean, please share this with anyone that you feel that needs to. I mean, I think everybody needs to hear what we've just talked about. So share it with everybody that you know, because you have no idea just how much these kinds of this shift in positive thinking, first of all, becoming aware, secondly, setting smart goals and holding yourself accountable, finding an accountability buddy, finding a coach, like whatever that looks for you, doing something with a friend, like just having someone that is going to hold you to that. And then, being aware of where your mindset is at. We're not saying, like, nowhere did we say your positive mindset means that everything is going to be rainbows and sunshine every day. It's how you're going to be able to deal with the stuff that happens to you, because you cannot control situations, you can't control circumstance, but you absolutely can control how you think, how you feel, how you react, how you act. All of these things that are going to shape how you go through your day, how you live your life, how you choose to be, do, and have. We're always going to come back to that.
Always.
And remember that your potential is limitless, absolutely limitless, but it's up to you to unleash it. And that is what we're all about here. And we're so happy that you stayed with us to the end, because let's commit right now. Make the commitment. No more excuses. And yeah.
That's the thing. You can hold yourself to a higher standard than anybody expects of you. And it's life-changing when you start lifting your own standards so that things become a must instead of a would like, and that I should. Yeah.
I should have known you were going to go there.
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
Finish that thought.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, I really should start doing that, and we should all over ourselves, but that has to become a must. We get our musts, not our shoulds, and so it's a bit of a wake up, and especially when you get to middle age. When you get to middle age and you realize that these protective structures that we build around us, our stories and comfort zones, no longer serve us, but they hinder us from who we are truly capable of becoming. An expression, the highest, truest expression of ourselves is contained in that story and comfort zone. And so we need to break the frame of that. Break that frame of those things, and just move into a different paradigm as to what you accept. And I think there's a Malcolm X quote which always sticks with me, which I'll finish with, which is, what you do not hate, you will eventually tolerate. And so it's like, what are you tolerating? Yeah. So you've got to decide, you've got to make that decision, you've got to hold that mirror up and face yourself. And it's going to be tough to start with, but it will get easier. So thanks ever so much. And like, we're so absolutely pumped that you're here and listening, and please do share and subscribe, because we want to get this message out. Yeah.
And so we'll be back next week with some more insights, some more strategies, and so that we can help you on your journey to self-mastery. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.